Guys, welcome back to the Bluegrass. We're over in Lexington doing a little bit of urban adventure training. I got my man Ollie, and now Ollie is so good looking that you got to be real careful. Show him how good looking Ollie is, Eli. You got to be really careful when you take this guy out, because this is what happens to him all day. It's just people want to stop and rub on him and love on him. And so it's hard for him to think about class because he's thinking about how every single person in the world probably wants to pay attention to him. So we bring him over here to kind of this business district where there's people, he gets to see a lot of people, but they're at work, so they're coming and going, and they can't stop and like encourage him to jump up or anything. Now also over here we have a lot of warehouses, and so there's semis and flatbeds coming along, and they make a lot of different kinds of noises than just regular cars. These businesses all have a lot of landscaping, and so on the landscaping there's a lot of mowers and weed eaters and other noisy things, blowers. That's just like we're just looking for a totality of environmental socialization. But that brings us to this one question that we get a whole lot, and that's, Stonnie, what about my English lab? And it's a lot of dogs, but these labs especially, they'll eat anything that they find on the ground. And so what we do is, like, we find these areas where we know they're going to be messy. Like over here in this industrial area, okay, we got a little bum camp out here because all these people go home after work, and these bums, they come out of they're like the zombies. They come out of the bushes and everything, and they just sit around and do whatever bums do, and they leave bum messes. Look at this mess, right? Okay, and so we bring these dogs over here and we put them in situations that are controlled but are real life situations, and we teach them not to pick stuff up off the ground. Now, it's really not even teaching. It's an old-fashioned concept called proofing. We taught this dog not to pick up trash at the kennel, and that's what you should do at your home. You should do your yard work at home, where the dog learns not to pick up trash in your floor, then not to pick up trash in your driveway, and then not to pick up trash, on your street. And then gradually work them out into more and more high distraction level environments. But now I'll tell you what happens a lot with proofing. Now, and I don't care what proofing technique you use. Like the technique we use a lot of times is we'll put stuff on the ground, and then we'll do a little bit of marker training. So if the dog chooses not to get this stuff, then we say, hey, we really appreciate that. And then that kind of what that does with the dog, reason I like that style is like the dog goes out and he sees something, he's like, oh Stonnie, hey, watch me. I'm not going to pick that thing up off the ground. Aren't you proud of me? And I'm able to go, yeah, dude, sure, I'm super proud of you. That's awesome, okay? Now, you can use the old-fashioned techniques, like they goes to get here and you fuss at them, you use the training collar, whatever. I really don't care. Just you need to be consistent in your application of whatever, methodology that you choose. And the point of this video is to make sure that you guys understand that there's an intermediate step between your yard training, your home training, and actually going out into an environment like this where you're distracted. Okay, you see this litter here? Back on up and show them this bum camp litter, Eli. Like, this is bum stuff, right? Okay, but if I'm honest, this is the same kind of stuff you'll see like if you go to Oktoberfest or your county fair, kids will drop stuff on the ground. Now, here's the difference between Oktoberfest and me scouting out this bum camp. Right now, I'm 100% focused. It might look like I'm talking to you guys, but I'm watching this dog out of the corner of my eye, okay? If I'm taking my kids to Oktoberfest, then I'm watching my kids part of the time and I'm watching the dogs part of the time. That's where I get a lot of emails. Like, Stonnie, I've been working on stuff at home and it worked great, but then I was at the ball game the other day and the dog ate a corn dog stick. Okay, that's because you skipped an intermediate step. Okay, so when you're, like thinking about your proofing methodology, again, I don't care what strategy you use. You can use an old-fashioned one, you can use marker training, you can use some combination of two. Just make sure that you hit all the steps. The first is to educate the dog in your home environment, low distraction level, right? And then go, like out in your yard, down your street, down your sidewalk, places that the dog is a lot of the time, right? But just go to moderately higher distraction environments. Then don't skip and go right to a high distraction environment where you're distracted. Go to a high distraction environment where you can pretend to be distracted. Like, see right here, like Ollie reached down here and he's nibbling on this grass a little bit. That's fine. I was aware of that, okay? Now, if he would have reached over here and started to fool with this, then you know, I would have had to interrupt that and say, dude, that's not appropriate. Okay, so that's all this video was about, guys, is make sure you hit your intermediate step where you go from your yard work to a moderate high distraction environment to a high distraction environment, but where you're 100% focused on the dog, but you're pretending not to be. That, when you can come out here to the bum camp and the dog doesn't pick up any bum items, then now you're ready to go to Oktoberfest. All right, guys, good luck. See you later.